Okay, we've got this old barn that it's on our property that we've used for storage for years. And it's kind of sits in a low spot here. So we're gonna raise this floor up a foot. We're doing 8 inches of gravel. So underneath this gravel is a broken up concrete floor. We're leaving it. We're just gonna raise this up 8 inches with gravel and then 4 inches of concrete. And then we're gonna remodel the shop to where it's, or this shop to where it's usable. So we'll show you how we do it. Okay, right now we're probably about 1 inch low with our gravel, maybe inch and a half in some areas. And we've shot our grade. So where the screw is right here, the bottom of the screw is gonna be our concrete grade, and we've divided this in 3 sections, and we're gonna pour this with a roller screed. So right here, 2 foot off, so we've come up 2 foot off this wall, and we'll set a rail. We'll hook to this screw, and we'll put a stake out that end, run our string line, and we'll actually have to drill our rebars down into here through this old concrete floor. And then we're going to put these screed chairs, and we'll use a 2-inch rail that we can ride our roller screed off of, and that rail, 2-inch rail, is set to our concrete height. So as we can show you, there'll be 1 rail here, and then over here 16 feet about, there'll be another rail here. So this will be 1 section, and then another 16 feet, which is right here. We'll set our 3rd rail. So we'll have 2 16-foot sections, and then we're going to set a form here on the outside of this pole, and we'll just run it back in there. We'll set a form and we'll screed. This will be our 3rd 16-foot section. So we'll be pouring from that way back. Our truck should be able to pull in, and it'll reach pretty close. And then once we get this section poured, we'll go ahead and move all of our junk over onto this section, pull those doors off, and we'll pour that section last. So if you can see down here, there is an old concrete floor that we're not going to tear up. We're just leaving somewhat broken up, but everything just sits too low, so we get water that runs down in here. So we'll start, first thing we'll start with is setting our screed rails. And once we set our screed rails, we're going to bring in our gravel. We'll screed our gravel, compact it really good, the final layer, and then we'll be ready to pour. We'll have to have forms at the end of these in order to finish off our concrete.
So is this string to grade, or is this down for the?
This is the grade. This is our concrete grade. This is what we'll set our screed chairs to, our screed rail to. Okay, we're gonna start putting our rebars in. So I've got these cut at 16 inches. We'll have to drill down all the way through the concrete. So what I like to do is come off the string about 1 inch, and then we'll pound this down probably about close to the string line, maybe a hair below the string line, and then we'll finish it off with the tool. So this tool, we've got 3 different types of screed chairs that we sell, and each one of these marks is for one of those screed chairs. So for the ones we're using, it's going to be this the top V, or the top notch right there. And all you do is you pound your rebar down until that top notch lines up with the string, and then that's set. And so this will actually sit down here 2.5 inches below the string line is where our rebars will be. And then when we put our 2-inch bar in there, it'll bring the bar right up flush with our string. So, and then another method that we do have, we have these plates. So if you're pouring on a vapor barrier, I wouldn't probably not use it here, but for a vapor barrier, you can set that down on your vapor barrier. You can even glue them down if you want. Once you get these set, you can come back through and shoot your grade, which is just 2.5 inches below your concrete grade, and then your screed chairs just sit right on top of that. Run your rail, and then once you get concrete over the top of these, that concrete holds it, keeps this from moving. So real easy to use and screed off of. Okay, so I'm just going to tap this a little bit below the string line, and then I'll finish it off with the tool. Right there, set perfect. And there's your screed there. So we'll set those every 3 feet all the way through here. Exactly the same for all 3 rails. And then we'll be ready to top off our gravel. We got one here that I can't get to go down anymore. So what we're going to do is measure down off the string line 2.5 inches, mark it, and we'll just cut it with a grinder. So if you're using these right here on top of vapor barrier, it's the exact thing you do. You'd either set them to the string like that, measure down your 2.5 inches, mark them and cut them, or you could shoot these with a laser to the height of the rebar, which is 2.5 inches below the string line. Set your screed chair on top of that. So really easy to do, doesn't take very long. There it is, perfect. So that first screed rail set is 10 foot long. It's 2 inches tall by 3/8 inches thick. And then all you do is after you roll through here to this end here, then you just lift it up a little bit and you slide it down. So you don't want to pull it up out of the screed chairs. And you just keep sliding it down, and you're ready to pour the next section.
Build our walls and insulate on this outside. Then you're not getting any of that crap coming through. Long winters, including summers.
So you're putting handles on so you don't have to bend over and screed?
Yep. So these are handles we made. We're gonna put 2 on there. And then since we got a 2x4 here, it's a little less than 4 inches. So we're just gonna ride it on top of our screed rails. And that's how we're gonna get our final layer of gravel. Pretty good. So it'll be a little bit higher, obviously, because this isn't exactly 4 inches for the concrete. But after we tamp it down, it should be pretty close.
Go on that side to start with, and we'll have to drag it backwards. Okay, we're going to screed our gravel, and what we're using is a 2x4. And as you can see, we got stakes screwed on the top. So what that's going to do is give us 3.5 inches. We'll dump our gravel in here, and then at least for this first part, we're going to pull back, but then we'll turn around and we'll be able to push this, and we'll push the gravel, and we'll be able to get it perfect. And then we'll come in with the tamper where we're going 3.5 inches. We come in with the tamper, it should tamp down about a 1/2 inch, and we'll be right at 4 inches. If you want to come back through and get it perfect, you can. You can either put a 1/2 inch piece of sheeting or something underneath between the 2x4 and this stake, and that'll put you right at 4 inches. Or you can take a 2x6 and screw it on the side, the stakes on the side, and put that level right at 4 inches, and that'll give you perfect gravel. Normally we do it that way, and we'll screed it several times, but where this is for our own building, I don't really care. So if we use a little extra concrete, I'm fine with that. So we'll go ahead and just screed it how it is to the 3.5 inches, tamp it down, and we should be real close to 4.
Why don't you stand there actually? Why don't you come in here and watch this other side? I don't smell it. I wish
Normally you're only putting in maybe an inch of gravel. Like this section and the next section will just be a light layer of gravel. This first section was a lot lower, so it took a lot more gravel, a lot more work. But normally you can just, if you have a skid steer, it's a lot easier. Our skid steer's not here, so we're using the backhoe. But you can just sprinkle a little bit throughout here with the skid steer, and it goes really quick. But we only have to put in an inch. It's pretty easy just to shovel, and you can get it perfect. As you can see, it's pretty close. And then what we normally would do is, after we tamp it down, we'd come back and hit it one more time with gravel, and you can get your gravel pretty perfect. And the reason we like to do it that way is you can calculate your mud perfectly. And a lot of times when other people get your gravel ready, if you're the one paying for the mud, their gravel's usually low or high. You could have humps in it. And so this way we have no humps, we'll have no low spots, and our gravel will be perfect. We'll have a perfect 4 inch thick slab, or whatever thickness you're doing. It's going to be perfect and uniform all through it without humps or low spots.
So you guys have never done this before?
Nope.
Never. That makes it nice.
As you can see, I think we're 25 by about 50, and we did all this in just a little over an hour. If we'd had a skid steer, it would have gone a lot quicker. But we're going to go ahead and tamp everything, and then we'll put our forms across the front, and we'll be ready to pour.
So when you tamp it, it's going to go down maybe like half an
Half
inch,
inch,
and that's
yeah.
kind of what
Yeah,
makes it the 4 inches.
So what we did is we put that first layer in here, probably about 6 inches, 6-7 inches, because we're going to do 8 inches of gravel, and then we tamped that pretty good, and so now when we put the top layer on, it's not going to go down very much. So yeah, we'll probably drop about a ½ inch, and it'll put us perfect. Okay, these are the handles that we use to screed our gravel. We use these same handles to do our sidewalk screed. We've had these probably around 20 years or more. Still work fine. All it is, you can see, is just some pipe with some angle iron holes drilled in it. And these actually came off of our very first roller screed, and we have them on our website, Amazon, eBay for sale. So these original ones, you can see it's just looks like ½ inch pipe, or that's just screwed in. These were the original spin screed handles. So if you're not a welder, you can just buy chunks of pipe, screw it all together. But then down at that bottom part, you'd have to weld it. These are, we stopped using these years ago with the roller screed. We got a hydraulic screed and stopped using the electric one. And you can see all the spots we had to weld where it had broken, because we use it a lot for screeding gravel. Okay, we're gonna pour 19 yards of concrete. It's 25 by 50 slab, and this is gonna be power troweled, so I'm just gonna wet the surface so the gravel doesn't suck the moisture out of the concrete and dries too fast. But we are gonna be in the shade the whole time, so this should be pretty easy, pretty simple pour. Shouldn't get too hot. And we should get a really good finish on it.
What's our mud mix?
It's a 5 bag because it's inside flat work, and then it's a 5 slab. So should go real smooth, real easy pour.
No additives?
No additives.
We're gonna be using our roller screed today too. So I think this is just a Makita drill.
Okay, our truck's here. It's going to be 2 trucks. This truck's carrying 10 yards. The next one's carrying 9 yards. These sections here, we're about 2 foot off that wall, so we have room to walk and pull the screed. And these are about 16-foot sections. We got 3 of them. And this is a 19-foot roller screed. So the truck probably won't reach all the way in here, so we'll have to shovel this in. But it should go pretty smooth, pretty quick.
Mud dropping, 9:30.
Okay, as you can see, it's piled up. We're trying to get a line across there so we can get our level. And you can see how this screed holds the concrete. You don't need a lot of rakers. Just keep going through it and you pull it. And what we'll have these guys do, once we get that across there, is we'll just have them fill holes with shovels. So they don't really have to pull the concrete. The roller screed pulls the concrete, so it does a lot of the work for you. You just have to go over it a few times.
Put a little bit along this pipe. Be a hole right here.
Okay, so this is probably the max you're gonna get out of one of these electric screeds. The Milwaukee motor is more powerful than this one. Something like this, we would normally use the hydraulic screed. And you can see as it gets piled up, it struggles to pull through it. It'll still work. If we're pouring a little wetter, it'd be better, but we don't want to be here all day because this is going to be in the shade all day. And then if you're, as you can see, they've got all this and they're going to pull these are 20-foot long screed rails, and they're going to pull these all the way down the end. We only had to pull them once, and then we'll be able to screed out to the end, and then we'll jump over to this next section. But if you watch how the roller screed is pulling it out, it doesn't take a lot of shoveling, it doesn't take a lot of dragging mud. So very little guys. These 3 guys shoveling have never poured concrete before, so it's going to look rough for them shoveling because they've never done it. All the way to the end. Take a shovel and make sure it stays full.
I didn't even hear that.
Shovel some of this and fill all that.
in there.
Our goal here is to pour this out as quick as possible. That's why we're using the roller screed. And then we come back and finish. So as you can see, I'm floating now just to try to get it smooth. If we could get around all these edges, if there wasn't a building here, somebody would be going along the edges with a float and just getting the edges nice. But we probably got another 15 minutes and we'll have that other bay poured out. So it's less than an hour to pour all this. And then it'll probably sit for an hour or so before we can power trowel. So we're way ahead of the game, and that's why we use the roller screed, because it's so much faster. And one more thing is, most of these guys are inexperienced. So my brother there, my son here, and me are the only ones that have really poured any concrete. So to pour a slab this big with inexperienced guys, normally you wouldn't do, but as you can see, and I probably would have got other guys to help us, it's going to be covered, so we'll have plenty of time to finish. But as you can see, even as it is, we were able to do it with inexperienced guys.
If you can reach them, wash them off and reuse them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Everybody gets a little bit safe.
What size? On the base, 14. Right here? Yeah, right there. A little bit more. Now we'll have you come off. Fill that hole out there. Okay, you see that hole out there? There's a little trick. Fill that hole without having to go out there. Boom. Perfect. Good job, Bill.
You pat yourself on the back.
Need a little more.
I'm in. Come on, I gotta go now. Okay. This?
Unless I just didn't notice.
Got a little screed chair.
Okay, we're just using a 3-foot power trowel with just combination blades. So we don't swap blades. We're not using any kind of float pan or anything. We'll just keep these blades on. First pass, this is still a little early, but the first pass, we'll just keep the blades pretty flat and you go pretty slow, and all we're trying to do is fill in any kind of holes there is. So I'm a little early on this. That's why you see a lot of the lines. It's still a little bit wet, but our first pass, we just want to go through and if there's any kind of small holes or other lines, we just want to take everything out, make it nice and smooth, and then as we go, as it starts to get harder and harder, we just adjust our blades up just a little bit, and we should get a really nice finish. And that's all we've ever done. We've never used float pans and float blades and then switch to finished blades. This setup for what we do works perfect. These a little bit. Doesn't have to look great.
Just keep going that way. All I want you to do is just go like this and just push out and kind of push a little hard, and then I'll just follow you. Not too hard.
Okay, we're done power troweling. Probably, if you wanted it a little smoother, you probably could hit it 1 or 2 more times, but some areas are starting to burn. We left it here because it gives it a little tiny bit of texture, so it's not going to be super slick if it gets wet. So it turned out really good. It's nice and flat. It's going to be perfect for what we need it for. Let's put another one down. Okay, we got all of our cuts in. We used a target saw with an 8-inch blade. It's a green cut saw, and we cut about 1 1/4 inches deep. Now, as you can see, on these ends, we can't get all the way to the end. You can see a little better on the folds, but what we're going to do is we're going to cut all the way to the end with a grinder. We're going to come out here about 2 feet. And what that should do is start this crack. It's called activating the crack. And so we'll do that at the end of every one of these cuts. And that hopefully we'll start to crack in the joint that we just cut. So normally on a 4-inch floor you could cut 1 inch deep. We go a little bit deeper, about 1.25 inches, sometimes 1.5 inches, depending on who it's for, to try to make sure that we get these, the cracks go where we cut. So, and one thing you got to remember, concrete's going to crack wherever it wants. So we just try to do the best we can to keep it from cracking, or to force it to crack where we want it to crack. So on this grinder, I'm going to go as deep as I can get with this blade, which is probably going to be just a little bit deeper than what I cut. And if you could get a 5-inch blade, a grinder with a 5-inch blade, it would probably be better. Just like that, as you can see, our cuts are probably as deep as what this is, maybe even a little deeper, so we should be good.